Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. It's Tuesday today. My goodness. Tuesday, June 1st. June 1st. Oh my goodness. We're almost at summer. I'm so excited. My name is Jackie Ellis. I'm with JackieEllis.com. I'm a mindset coach, business coach, and Reiki master. Um, I read energy. I talk about energy, I read energy, and fun little tidbit, kind of like the hygge lifestyle, because I started that journey and advanced my personal development, my personal growth and expansion um, as I found more balance within my life. So today, today we're going to talk about common patterns for this week. We are in the last week of the moon cycle. Fun times. And it's a week about vision, what we see, our vision for our life, our dreams, how we identify with ourselves and within our life. It is how we're using our time. Yes, how we're using our time. How we are manifesting. We all are manifesting. You know what? There's a belief out there that there's like different types of personalities, and some people are manifestors and other people are, other types of people. We all manifest. We all manifest. We just may not be manifesting what we think we want to manifest, and we are attracting the opposite, or a lower vibration of what we want, what we desire. So that's where I come in, because everything is energy, and energy is everything. And you're going to hear me talk about that lots. But this week, too, it's all about how certain we are when we make those decisions, and before we take those actions, and whether or not we can trust, or we're trusting our intuition, so that we can make those decisions accurately and take those actions with precision. And that is key. It's key, right? There's a few patterns. There's a few patterns that happen here, and I want to talk to you about those patterns. But first, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my program that I've now extended. I've extended the start date for Rise Up to start on June 29th. I think it's the 29th. And they run on Tuesdays. We've got homework that is given out the week before, and to give you time to reflect and work on and really observe what your own life, so that you can make those changes. We're going to have a group chat that you can utilize throughout the week, so that you're not left, so it's not just one Zoom call a week. And then we will meet over Zoom as well, so there will be additional coaching opportunities as well. So it is well worth your time, well worth the effort, and completely valuable for your entire life. Marketing gurus keep telling me that I need to pinpoint the need, like make it a specific program for a specific area of a person's life. And the child in me, wants to just make this fun and enjoyable as much as possible because, let's face it, sometimes mindset stuff isn't very fun and enjoyable, but especially during the beginning. But the child in me goes, but why do I need to? My program works for all aspects of your life. All aspects. Um, and because energy is everything, right? Everything is energy. Um, so when we have one problem, when there's one pattern in one area of your life, there's a pretty good chance that that same pattern follows in other areas of your life. Are you feeling me? Are you feeling me at all? Um, it's interesting because I've gone through coaching myself, and I've gone through these programs for business related activities, and every time it was my personal stuff, my personal baggage that was holding me back. It was the same patterns. It was the same patterns. So, today I want to talk to you about patterns specifically, and every week during every week there's an energy within the cycle of our earth that will bring forth healing opportunities, specific types of healing opportunities for people. And I've done enough studying and observation, and I was actually, I got some downloads from source. I did. So, um, they were confirmed. These patterns are there. And, it's interesting because I'll be working with a client and they won't necessarily see it at first. And then I'll show them and they'll be like, oh. It happened today. It happened today. And the person was, my client was going, well, I just spent the last 4 days down this rabbit hole of research and didn't see it until today that maybe that there was something wrong. That I was maybe triggering myself, or that there may have been something off. I'm like, you didn't see it until today because it pulled you down that rabbit hole. And, your soul saw it. There is a healing opportunity there. But when I'm working with clients and I point out the pattern that they didn't see and they see it right away, we celebrate that. Because that means that they're ready to actually see it. And when they're actually ready to see it, they are then empowered to do something about it and take that step bravely forward, and actually, with courage and determination and strength, they're able to do things that they weren't able to do before. And that's the power of having a coach, number one. But it's also the power of doing the work that we're doing in Rise Up, and doing the work that I teach just within my Be Simply You group, both in Telegram and on Facebook. Rise Up. What is Rise Up? Rise Up is a program developed specifically for anyone that is wanting to raise their vibrations by healing what's no longer serving them any longer. And that could be having goals within your career. It could be, and you want to actually, find your, like, look within to see what's holding you back from taking that big leap, from finally feeling the freedom to do what you are passionate to do. It might be life goals in improving your relationships that you have with your spouse or your kids, or friendships, or extended family, and healing those past wounds by starting to heal your wounds within you. And by doing that, you learn to communicate, and you learn to love yourself. And by learning to love yourself, you can actually learn to express love towards other people. Pure love, not twisted and caked with beliefs from your past, but pure love straight from your heart. And you know what, maybe life goals relating to just wanting to learn to love yourself for who you are, and to learn to love your journey and quit being so hard on yourself. Because as simple as it is to say you need to be kinder to yourself, it's not always easy to do, is it? It's not. You know, if it was easy to do when I started saying that to myself 20 years ago without any mindset coaching, without any knowledge of what I know now, then it would have been easy for me to just, oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, I'll just shut off the anxiety. I'll shut off the worry. I'll shut off the depression. I'll shut off the doubt, the overwhelm, the... But when you are able to see the patterns that have got you to this point and go, okay, now that I know this is what those have done, now that I know, I can now see it faster. And when you can see it faster, you can tap into your inner power and know exactly what you need to shift back in alignment. And you'll know each time you will get, it will get easier and easier and easier and easier for you to know what it feels like to be there, to be in that golden spot. Rise Up is for anyone that is wanting to find themselves. Rise Up is for anyone that is wanting to, that has stopped trusting their intuition on a certain level and is finding themselves, especially this week, in their headspace, right? And they really want to tap into their inner power and be able to confidently walk through life knowing who they are and trusting themselves and being able to be the change they need for their own life. Why rise up? It's a very good question. There's other programs out there. There is. There's other coaches out there. Rise Up is, yes, sure, it's not specific to one specific need. But it is a method that encompasses all aspects of your life. So it is not a program that is going to give you a tiny little bit of knowledge for just this one tiny little part of your life. It is a program that is going to give you the tools that you need to heal deep wounds without having to relive that old trauma. You know, there's other mindset coaching out there that believe that you need to relive, like bring yourself back to those traumatic moments and remember and feel the pain in order to heal from that pain. But why does that matter today? Why is that old trauma? This is what I ask my clients, right? Because the brain wants you to go back there because it wants you to remember how unsafe it was in those moments. And it's all linked to patterns. It's all linked to patterns that our brain has developed over time to keep us safe and bring us to this moment. And those patterns are all linked with energy. The trauma, the original root cause trauma, is energy, as well as every little pattern up until this point. So when we focus on what matters now, and we heal that, and we use the right tool and method to heal that, we actually cut the root and heal the root at the deepest level. And we start alchemizing that energy until it's gone. And that's when you find freedom. And that's why Rise Up is so powerful. It is not a surface fix. It is using a method that has deep, deep healing. So much so that when you use it and you get the exacting tone, it sends healing energy through your entire body, and you feel things shifting and moving and turning and rearranging. And it's so empowering to know that you have moved past that. You were healed from that. And then when you're put in other situations that are very similar, you either A, aren't triggered, or B, if you find yourself being triggered, you're like, but it doesn't feel right. Like it feels like you almost like your brain goes, well, I should be triggered, so I'm going to get triggered. But then it doesn't quite feel right. Like it doesn't belong. Like it's an old coat of yours that doesn't fit anymore. That happened to me recently. And that was just old stuff that I had long healed from, and my brain had remembered and went, well, okay, well that does belong to us. No. No, it doesn't. That's the power of Rise Up. You're able to actually discern between that. And then you're not stuck in years or months or even days of lower vibrational energy pulling you down into a depression or an anxiety attack or a worry cycle. You're able to actually live life and enjoy life and have happier moments and feel joy and feel love and appreciate your journey. That is what Rise Up does. That is why Rise Up is needed. So, I promised you what are some of the common patterns for this week. Well, let's talk about them. Okay, so um, this week, when we are in our divine powers, we're using our divine powers, we're in alignment, we are trusting our intuition. We are trusting the vision that we have within our life. And we may even be asked by universe in very unique ways, very interesting ways, how we see the vision for our life, how we feel when we think of our future. You know, we may say one thing. What's going on with my hair? We may say one thing, but how we feel about our future matters, right? So if we are not feeling very positive about the outlook on our future, the outlook on our vision for our future, then universe is going to go, okay, honey, let's look at this. And you'll notice different healing opportunities, right, that will be based around this, right? I have clients, and I'm in this similar situation. I have spent a lot of energy and a lot of time and given myself a lot of space to really invest in my spiritual, mental, and emotional well-being. And for a while, I was like even looking at my physical well-being, and some of it I do. But universe is now saying, you know what, honey? It's time to take care of that physical body of yours. And you need to do something a little more. And those are the messages that are coming through, right? And I'm not saying they're coming through in ads on Facebook. They're coming through in other ways, right? And, it is time. It is time. But I needed to get my emotional and mental well-being handled, stable, before I could even, this was me, right? So for me, my journey, I needed to, tap into my spiritual higher self and start to learn how to trust my intuition and really stabilize my emotional and mental well-being. And once I was able to do that, then I had the freedom, the clarity in my mindset to notice the little things within my physical well-being that need some adjustment. Are you feeling me? Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's give you some examples. So this week you may be showing different healing opportunities, right? So have you ever been in a situation where you start getting into a worry cycle or feeling very anxious about things, and your intuition says you need to do something. You need to do this specific thing. So you have this thought that comes through and you're like, okay, there's something there, but I don't know if that's just my mind making up stuff or maybe I should do some research on this, right? And then you find yourself in down like the rabbit holes of research, and all of a sudden you start getting overwhelmed and you start getting worried even more because all of a sudden you're like noticing all this other stuff that's on the internet that doesn't apply to you, but all of a sudden your brain thinks it does. Right? Or maybe you were assigned a task at work, and it's a big project. It could launch a whole new direction for your career. And you're nervous. You're nervous. And your intuition says, you know what, you've got this. You've worked for this. You are fully capable of doing this. And you're like, I don't think what you're telling me is correct. Like, this has not been something that has happened before. Like, I always seem, and you go through the list of things that you may have done wrong in the past. And they obviously weren't like horrendous. But your brain thinks they are, right? And you're completely stuck in what the failures of the past and what hasn't gone right. And so then you go on this big research thing, and you find yourself going through this like cycle where you do all the research, and then you have this huge, like extremely detailed project plan. And your boss comes to your desk and says, so how far along are you on this? Oh, well, I've got this 30-page project plan done. When do you think you can finish the project? Well, according to the project plan, it'll take about, 3 months. Oh, well, we weren't expecting it to take that long. What can you do to shorten it? So then you're like, oh my gosh, I just spent all this time wasting weeks doing this, and then all of a sudden it's not anywhere near what they wanted, or maybe it was, but they didn't need a master project plan to get it done. So then you got to work overtime to make sure it gets done on time. And you don't get paid for overtime because your salary. It happens. It happens, right? But those situations that happen on a regular basis, those situations impact your personal health. They impact your personal relationships. You're not home very often anymore because you're working overtime all the time, and it just all adds up. And then all of a sudden you are going home and you're stressed out, and the kids just want to spend some time with you, and they're mommy, 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 or daddy, 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 and all of a sudden you snap because you have hit your limit and you just needed some space, right? But they didn't know that. They didn't know that. When we are in those moments and we have lived in those patterns where, they seem small at first, but we've created habits, we've created patterns to try and stop the worry, try and stop the anxiety. Like, we project plan and we do the research, the massive research, to try and make our brains feel better about the worry, the thing that's worrying us, the doubt that we're having about ourselves, only to add to the worry and the anxiety and the muck. We only add to it by doing that. And it'll start small in life. where it'll seem innocent, right? Where you're, you know, you start asking a friend because you're doubting your own decision. So you'll start, calling up a friend. Well, I'm going to call up so and so. She's my rock. She's always had my back, right? Or you'll talk to a colleague at work because, we're a team. We're a team. And you'll say, okay, I just need to run through this one more time. And then all of a sudden you're in a situation where you're not only talking to them about that one decision once, but twice, 3 times. It could be every day for 3 weeks. And finally they go, you know what? I think we've talked about this enough. Why don't you just make a decision already? If it's not the right decision, then don't do it. Have you ever been in that situation? It's because your brain wouldn't shut off, because you had all of a sudden had stopped trusting your intuition and were relying on an outside source to help you make that decision, and your brain went, you know what, you shouldn't trust yourself. There must be something to worry about. It's common. It's very common, but it's a pattern, right? And that pattern will lead into you possibly not being able to form an opinion about something specific unless you're absolutely certain. You're 100% certain that that's the right opinion to have. Anyone else have this situation? I've lived this. I've done all of the over planning. It started with an innocent schedule. Schedules kept my sanity. I added them to my personal life. It got to the point where I had every Saturday and Sunday planned, right? For hour to hour. We knew exactly what we were doing when. And I couldn't even plan a vacation without having detailed plans on what we were going to do, when we were going to do it, so that everyone could have fun. But no one was having fun because there was a schedule. I even had backup plans for the plans in case the weather didn't cooperate. I'm like, I can't make this stuff up. This is true. So when I talk about this, I've lived it. I don't live that way now. And I honestly believe that because I have moved past these old patterns and healed from them, I've trained my brain to be okay with some of the weirdness that we've had to experience in the last year. I've had much less struggle and strife because of where I have brought myself and healed myself. And frankly, when I've done that for myself, my family's been able to heal themselves as well. So they started their healing journey as well because of it. I have, this week, you may find yourself being frustrated and blocked and unsure of the step that you need to take. And it may be a big step. It may be a huge step. The universe might be saying to you in that new business opportunity or that new direction in your life, that new relationship that you're being guided towards, to put yourself out there, to take that big leap, and to trust that it will be okay. And the doubt, and when you're not trusting your intuition, will keep you frozen and blocked, and you'll feel stuck. when you feel stuck, that's a sure sign that you are in powerlessness, and a sure sign that you need to step back into your inner power and do the thing that you're being asked to do. When you find yourself having to talk to someone else outside of yourself, that other person or your team members, about stuff that you've been worrying about yourself, well, maybe instead of having a conversation with those outer people and getting their opinions that are also well-meaning but wrapped in their own stuff, right? Maybe have that conversation with your intuition. And ask yourself, like, what do you mean by this? What do you, like, ask the questions. Well, I don't quite understand. Can you give me a little bit more details? Are you sure I need to do that? You'll probably hear, yes. What if I do this? No. It's all common. It's all common. But it's patterns that we need to be aware of when we're on our journey. What about if you've been asked work, or someone's asked you to do something that you don't think you're good at, and like a good example is universe is like, Jackie, you need to like move more, you need to do some exercise, and right away my brain's going, wow, yes, started this type of exercise before, and that didn't work out, and that thing didn't work out, and it's like, well, you do this video and you can't even get through it, and well, I could listen to those negative things, or I could go, you know what, going for a walk outside isn't hard, and walking is actually healthy. I spent years in a kickboxing gym and loved it and excelled at it. There's nothing, and I was at the same weight I am right now when I started. I can do that. There's stories that the brain wants to tell you, but it's not true. It's just to keep you safe because it doesn't know what's on the other side. But when you've actually created patterns that are healthier, you can remind your brain that, yes, there's healthier ways. I've done it before. Or there's healthier ways, and I'm okay trying this out because it might work out. And if it doesn't, I'm sure I'll be fine. I'll find a different way that works for me, that brings joy and peace and love, and I'm loving myself through this journey. Procrastination is another big one for this week. But all that I've been talking about is actually just procrastination, right? It's doing all the planning and the research and all the doubting, the inaction. Like that it's busy work, but it's actually not actually, like, it's like being told by universe that you need to like move more. Right? And I'm like, I hear this thought, well, the thought goes through my mind, go for a walk. Oh, well, look at, it's kind of cloudy. Looks really windy. I don't want to go for a walk. There's got to be a better solution for me than taking care of my body. Like, I'm just going to like do this research right now. So I spent hours or days doing research on something, and when I could have actually just opened the door and gone for a walk. And in retrospect, I laugh because it's like I spent years doing this. And sometimes I catch myself. I do. Sometimes I catch myself. But I catch myself faster. And I'm kinder to myself now when I do catch myself. I'm like, okay, let's shift back into my power. Let's do the thing that I'm asked to do. It'll be okay. What about making more conservative choices because you doubt? It's like the universe told you to do this specific thing. Okay, so I'm going to do this specific action, but you know what? I don't think that I can do exactly how universe wants me to do it, even though it's been very clear. So I'm just going to do it this way. Well, then the results aren't going to be accurate. They're not going to be as good as they would have been. They won't create the magic that is needed for you to manifest what you truly want to manifest. The results will be delayed, or they won't be as powerful, or they won't happen at all. So, yes, this week's a big week, because this week also leads into next week, our new moon week, where we are looking at what we desire. And what we desire will be brought down from our vision for our life. And what we're willing to sacrifice in order to make those happen. What isn't serving us any longer, right? And so paying attention this week to the patterns that you're seeing, the healing opportunities that you're having, and being able to shift those and listen to the messages that you're being asked to miss. You know, it may be something simple like, you know, you're having a conversation with someone and they mention something and all of a sudden it brings back a memory of a goal that you had years ago, of a vision that you had of yourself doing something specific. And you're like, oh, I remember when. You know, that thought, that memory wasn't by coincidence. It wasn't a coincidence that you had it then, and it's certainly not a coincidence that it's been brought back to your memories now. You've got this. You've got this. If you are interested at all in exploring what Rise Up is and seeing if you're a good fit for the group, message me. I am doing an application only, because I want to make sure that the energy within the group is a good fit so that you get what you need out of it. And so if you are interested in being one of those Rise Up people and being part of that team, that group, we can rise up together. So just drop me a private message, DM me, and we can chat more about the Rise Up program. We start June 29th. I'm going to be doing more videos exactly like this. We'll just talk about different patterns. But until next time, be simply you. Have a great day.